Hi, this is Jürgen Rasmussen. Welcome to another episode of the Provocative Hypnosis vlog. Last week I shared a video with you guys where I talked about a person I had seen once for allergies. And I described how this person discovered in the office that an allergic response is a psychophysiological illusion of sorts. Now, when I say illusion, I don't mean non-existent. I mean not what it appears to be. So to use a contrast, when people struggle with what we call phobias, it really seems as if it is the spider or the airplane or the elevator doors closing shut that triggers or creates a particular fear response. It's not actually the case. It's our stories about what it means to be in the elevator and how we interpret our body sensations resulting from that story that we're actually experiencing. So in that sense, a phobia is an illusion in that it's not what it appears to be. And helping someone really see that and discover that in an embodied way can really work wonders. Now, just like with everyone else, what we tested in the office, we tested a potato, which was one of the things that she was allergic to. Now, almost everyone believes that it's the potato or the apple or the cat or the dog or the pollen that triggers their allergic response. This is not actually the case. It's our own psychophysiological interpretation of what it means to be around the dog or eat the potato that actually generates the response. If that wasn't the case, then anyone who eats a potato should have an allergic response. Now, when I say interpretation and thought, I'm using it in a slightly different way than most people use it. So what you could say with an allergy is that our mind-body system, in a sense, thinks that being around a cat or a dog or whatever it is somehow equals danger. And it's this interpretation, it's this activity, this representation that we actually respond to. So this particular client, by me asking her some questions about her allergy, discovered that she could have a pretty strong allergic response just thinking about it. And then I helped her really discover that, and she had a kind of holy shit moment. And then she actually took up the potato and started playing with it and taking bites from it, and she had no allergic response whatsoever. Neither did she have the rashes on her skin that she would usually have. And I taught her a little ritual to deepen this particular insight and tasked her with testing it and exploring it in the real world. And so far, she's been testing with flying colors. And the real biggie was pollen. She was extremely allergic around pollen, and now she's completely fine around pollen, completely neutral. And of course, it was never the pollen. It was her mind-body interpretation, of what it means to be around pollen that she was actually responding to. And just seeing this, not in an intellectual way, but in an embodied way, seems to have completely updated her operating system and rendered mute her old allergic responses that seem to be associated with the old operating system. What's also really interesting in this particular case is that she had a medical emergency a while back, almost died, and has had panic attacks almost daily ever since. So during the session, I helped her to realize that time is a thought construct, that we never actually experience a past or a future or a past event or a future event, but a representation or a thought construct in this very moment. That's all we ever actually experience. And this was a breakthrough for her. So I also helped her discover and taught her a little bit about memories. This was a long session, like a 2.5 hour session. And when I first had her think about what she labeled the trauma, the medical emergency, she was like at a 9 out of a 10 scale of being very distressed. Then I had her do it again, but I had her know that she was thinking as she did it. And I helped her to discover in an embodied way that the stress came from forgetting that what she's thinking is not actually being experienced at the moment of thinking. She's not actually experiencing a past event or a past. And after doing this a couple of times, she went from a 9 to a 0. And she said to me, "Oh my God, I've gotten a completely new outlook on how experience works. And since that first and only session, no more panic attacks, no more anxiety." So this is very interesting. I have to admit that this is not the typical outcome. Most of my clients don't have that dramatic, call it transformations, in one session. But these things do happen. It's possible for at least some people some of the time. And the power of an embodied insight can be very transformative and literally update our operating system and thereby dissolve many of the symptoms or tendencies that we're hooked to that old operating system. Now, for those of you who have a hypnosis background or an NLP background, um, there was no particular technique involved outside of helping this particular client have an insight. And I do the typical thought experiments that I have shared previously that I call the serial killer experiment, which is what I teach in my psychological illusion model seminars. I also want to point out something else because I shared this on social media and some colleagues commented, well, what about causes or what about the needs of the body? Like if a particular need of the body is not being heard, maybe that can manifest as allergies, but if that's kind of cleared, the allergies can disappear. And I, of course, don't know the mechanisms, right? I make the point that maybe in a few decades, if we get some insightful scientists who get the proper resources and funding, we can get some good approximate answers as to what's really going on when people make these sorts of changes. But in this particular case, I don't presuppose that there is any cause outside of the particular thought process in the moment. Neither do I presuppose that there's anything to heal or anything to be resolved or anything wrong. It's more like seeing through a magic trick in an embodied way. Now, a natural question that some people might ask is, well, what about if people have... So talking about needs, yeah, we as psychophysiological organisms have certain needs. We need sleep, we need nutrition, we need water. And then there's a lot of things, I mean, to survive and to flourish. And then there are a lot of things that we call needs that really are preferences. Now, might it be the case that some people have, say, nutritional or hormonal deficiencies or whatever that prevent them from making these sorts of shifts? Might be true, for all I know. Even though you have to wonder what that should be if someone has had these particular responses for pretty much their entire life. But I don't think we should assume those things. very often we can make change work harder than it needs to be by imposing a lot of theories of what needs to happen before change can happen. And I think this is very often a mistake. So the question becomes then, like, with your current physiology and psychology, is a particular allergic response mandatory? And I would guess that in most instances it's not. Like you can actually adjust and adapt. Now, the flip side of this is that sometimes people will ask for things that are completely unreasonable. So, for example, a while back, I had a person contact me for anger management, which is one of the things that I see a lot of clients for. And talking to him on the phone, I discovered that he worked 90-hour weeks and had like 4 hours of sleep per night. That was according to his own estimates. And I said to him, dude, if you weren't irritated and struggling with mood swings, given how you're treating your physiology, that would be a slight miracle. Like, there's no technique or nothing I can do with you that's likely to make up for that. So I instructed him to prioritize sleep and to make some changes in his regime to see what effect that could have. So, I mean, just getting the proper sleep or getting better nutrition, for example, can often work wonders. But here's also something else that's interesting that people who have seen smokers have probably noticed. Sometimes, perhaps, to help someone smoke, you need to help them relate to their feelings in a different way, or help them resolve things, make some psychological changes, or at least it seems that way. But everyone has probably done sessions, I mean anyone experienced sessions where you do that and the person is psychologically much better off, but they're still smoking just as much. And anyone who's experienced has probably also had the experience of having a client who's very neurotic and you help them stop smoking and they stop smoking and they're still just as neurotic. I don't work with weight loss or weight issues. I'm not opposed to it. I just haven't spent a lot of time doing that. Now, I would not be surprised at all, that helping someone to relate to their psychological experience, for example, in a better way might be the thing that makes the difference for someone to lose weight and stabilize their weight in a way that works. However, there's no shortage of really fit people who are extremely neurotic and unhappy. And there's probably a lot of people who have lost weight who are just as neurotic as they were before they lost weight. And there are also people who are overweight and they're in good shape in terms of being happy, having fulfilling relationships, having a meaningful life, so on and so forth. So that's a very interesting topic, and I don't quite necessarily have the answers, but there's something to ponder. Now, if some of you wonder, is this real? Like, is this guy bullshitting me? Is it really possible to do this? If you're curious and you want some proof, I've created a online training product with my good friend Howard Cooper. It's full of actual sessions with people who had real allergies. You can see the sessions and you can see the follow-up interviews and the troubleshooting down the line. So if you're a professional and you want to discover if this is possible or you want to learn how to do this type of work, This particular product is sold by my good friend and partner Howard Cooper at his website Rapid Change Works. Rapidchange.works. He's hidden it a little bit and made it a bit hard to find. So there's a tab there that says resources for professionals, something like that. If you click that, you can find the product. If you would like to explore how to change these things for yourself, I am available for sessions. I see clients from all over the world on Skype. Yesterday I saw 5 clients, which is way too much. I usually prefer to see 2. I saw 1 client from Australia, 1 from the UK, 2 from Norway, and 1 from the United States. So if you want to explore that, you can reach me at provocativehypnosis.com. Till next time.